Before you scroll past this, I need to tell you about a 73-year-old woman named Patricia who couldn't get her Social Security checks for 2 months. Not because she did anything wrong, but because the system is so broken she literally couldn't reach a human being to update her address. And here's what's really going to shock you. Patricia's story isn't unusual anymore. It's becoming normal. Right now, there's a plan moving through Congress that could either save Social Security as we know it or watch it collapse under its own weight. And most people have absolutely no idea this is happening. What I discovered while researching this will probably make you angry. It definitely made me angry. But more importantly, it might be the key to protecting benefits for over 60 million Americans, including you. I've been tracking Social Security changes for years, but what's happening right now is different. This isn't just about politics or policy. This is about whether the system will still exist in a form that actually helps people when you need it most. And after what I learned, I honestly couldn't sleep until I shared this with you. Before we dive in, I need to know something. Have you tried calling Social Security in the past year? Because if you have, you already know exactly what Patricia went through. Drop a comment with how long you waited, because the numbers I'm seeing are absolutely unbelievable. And if this kind of straight talk about issues that actually affect your life helps you make sense of what's happening, hit that subscribe button. I promise to keep breaking down these complex situations in plain English. So let me tell you Patricia's full story, because it's going to help you understand just how bad things have gotten. Patricia lives in rural Pennsylvania, and after her husband passed away, she needed to move to assisted living. Simple enough, right? She just needed to update her address with Social Security so her checks would reach her. She tried calling in March. The automated system hung up on her after 2 hours on hold. She tried again the next week. Same thing. She asked her daughter to help. Her daughter spent 3 hours on hold and got disconnected twice. For 2 months, Patricia's checks were going to her old address while she was paying for assisted living out of her savings. She was terrified the payments would stop completely. She didn't sleep well. She stopped eating regular meals because she was worried about money. Finally, in May, her daughter drove her 4 hours to the nearest Social Security office. They waited 3 hours to be seen, only to have the problem fixed in 15 minutes. Patricia's story broke my heart, but here's what really made me angry. She's not alone. When I started digging into this, I found out the Social Security Administration is operating with the lowest staffing levels in 50 years. 50 years. Think about that. We have more people receiving benefits than ever before, over 66 million Americans, but fewer people working to help them than we had when the program was half its current size. This isn't just inefficiency. This is a system in crisis, and it's affecting real people like Patricia every single day. Now, I want to be fair about how we got here, because understanding the problem helps us understand the solution. A lot of these issues started with something called DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. The idea behind DOGE sounds reasonable on paper. Make government more efficient, reduce waste, save taxpayer money. Who could argue with that? But here's where I got frustrated reading the implementation details. In practice, efficiency meant massive job cuts at Social Security. Thousands of experienced workers were let go or took early retirement. Field offices were marked for closure. The budget for customer service was slashed. I read about a Social Security office in Binghamton, New York, where the remaining workers were so overwhelmed and understaffed that several actually walked out in protest. These weren't people being difficult. These were dedicated public servants who couldn't properly help the people depending on them. To be honest, when I think about efficiency, I think about getting things done better and faster. But what happened here was the opposite. They made the system slower and less helpful in the name of saving money. Which brings me to this new bill that's moving through Congress. It's called the Keep Billionaires Out of Social Security Act. I know the name sounds political, but when I looked at what it actually does, it's really about fixing the problems I just described. Senator Chuck Schumer introduced this bill, and when I saw where he announced it, it really struck me. He was standing in a community center in upstate New York, surrounded by seniors and Social Security workers. Behind him were simple signs that said, "Protect Social Security." What got to me wasn't the political theater, it was the faces in that room. These were real people who depend on a system that's been failing them. The bill has four main parts, and I want to walk you through each one because they directly address the problems people like Patricia are facing. First, no more closing local field offices without Congress getting involved. This one hits close to home for me because these offices are where people go when they're desperate, when there's a mistake with their benefits, when they need to apply for disability, when the website crashes and they need a real person. I heard about a Social Security office in Syracuse that was scheduled to close, but the community fought back so hard, seniors showing up at town halls, families writing letters, that it stayed open. That's what we're talking about. Places where real people get real help when they need it most. Second, the bill calls for serious hiring. Not just a few people, but enough staff to actually answer phones and process claims in reasonable time. Imagine calling Social Security and getting through to someone who can help you within 30 minutes instead of 3 hours. Third, they want to invest $5 billion a year in updating the technology. Now, I'm not a tech expert, but I know what it's like when websites crash or systems are so outdated, they can barely function. Better technology means faster processing, fewer mistakes, and stronger protection for your personal information. The fourth part really resonates with me because it's about fairness. Right now, if Social Security accidentally overpays you and it's completely their mistake, they can demand all that money back, sometimes creating real financial hardship. I heard from a veteran last month who got a letter demanding he repay $8,000 because of a calculation error from 3 years ago. $8,000. He had no idea there was even a problem. And suddenly he's facing this massive bill for something that wasn't his fault. This bill wants to make that process more reasonable and fair because honestly, it never made sense to me that people should be financially punished for the government's own errors. The bill also creates real penalties for anyone who misuses Social Security data or interferes with the system's operations. It's basically saying hands off to any group trying to disrupt services. Now, I have to be honest with you, not everyone supports this plan. I've been reading about some officials who think Social Security should be privatized, turned over to private companies to run. The argument is that private companies can operate more efficiently than government. But when I think about my own experiences with private companies, insurance companies that deny claims, banks that charge fees for everything, customer service departments that keep you on hold for hours, I'm not automatically convinced that's better. What really bothered me was reading about one official who actually joked that if his mother didn't get her Social Security check, she wouldn't complain. To me, that shows a fundamental disconnect from how important these benefits are to real families. Here's what I keep coming back to: Social Security works. Despite all the current problems, despite the staffing shortages and technology issues, it still successfully sends out over $1 trillion in benefits every year. It keeps millions of people from falling into poverty. But I have to tell you the whole truth here. This bill, as good as it sounds, doesn't solve Social Security's biggest long-term challenge. The trust fund is still projected to run short by 2033. When that happens, everyone's benefits get automatically cut by about 23%, unless Congress takes more dramatic action. That means we need both immediate fixes, like this bill provides, and long-term solutions that ensure Social Security remains strong for generations to come. But here's what gives me hope. When people speak up, when communities fight for their services, when voters make their voices heard, things can change. That office in Syracuse I mentioned, it stayed open because people fought for it. I want to hear from you because your experience matters more than any politician's speech or policy paper. What's been your experience with Social Security? Have you had trouble getting through on the phone? Has your local office been helpful or impossible to reach? Are you worried about the future of your benefits? Leave a comment and share your story. It might help someone else feel less alone in dealing with these challenges. And if this kind of honest, calm discussion about issues that directly affect your life is helpful, please subscribe. I'll keep following these developments and breaking them down in ways that actually make sense for real people. Most importantly, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a parent, a neighbor, or a friend who's been struggling with Social Security issues. Because the more people who understand what's happening, the better chance we have of protecting this system we all depend on. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.